all. It's a 50% increase in playoff viewership over the 2021 first and second rounds. Most viewed WNBA opening playoffs in 15 years. Of course, some of that is due to one of the games being on ABC and most of the games being on ESPN. But that's fine. That's like a points per game versus points per 100 possession sort of thing. It's fine. We'll take it.
It's good.
All right. Speaking of what's going to be the most viewed WNBA semifinal ever, I'll say it here. Write it down, ESPN. I don't know, actually. I don't know how the metrics work. Right. Which one do you want to preview first? Seattle, Las Vegas, or Chicago-Connecticut?
Oh, my gosh. Let's go Chicago-Connecticut.
Chicago-Connecticut. Very interesting. All right. So where do you want to start here?
I want to start.
I got a legal pad.
Oh, today. You do? Oh, snap. But you don't have any Post-its, though.
I have our Post-its that we both lost. Okay. We were both wrong on both of our Post-its.
Do well with that.
We got to do more of that during the college season.
Yeah. Right. At least my Indiana 6-win thing from the first half of the season isn't on the wall anymore. So that's good. Fine. I am thinking, let's go with how Chicago has had their way with Connecticut this season.
Indeed, they have.
And I think, obviously everyone's like, okay, playoffs is a brand new season and everything like that. But mentally, that sits in your head. Now, it could work for you. If you're Chicago, we've done it before, we'll do it again and keep that foot on the pedal. But like you said, there's been some inconsistency with how hard that foot's been on the pedal for Chicago this season. But then if you're Connecticut, man, they have something to prove. No Jasmine Thomas, this season. Last year, they didn't have Alyssa Thomas going at the end of the regular season. She came in, for the playoffs at the end. So they've had some disjointed pieces, even though they have come together this year to make it to the semis. I just think that Connecticut may eke out a couple wins, just because of that level of competitiveness that they're going to bring to the table. JJ, Jonquel Jones is going to bring it. I mean, she was MVP last year. I mean, there are players that they have. And Brianna Jones coming off the bench, 6th player of the year AP. I think they just have the pieces that they need right now. And Heidemann has been shooting the ball very well. So I'm like, they're going to need that, obviously, against a team like Chicago. But I think they're hungry to advance.
Yeah. No, I agree. And look, we made fun of this, but Chicago won the 4 games in the regular season. But the total margin over those 4 games was 18 points. Every game was decided by 8 points or less. 2 of them were decided by 3 points. Very close. These two teams are very good. Both these teams are very, very good.
Yeah.
But I think what happened in those games is Chicago just came out firing. I mean, they shot their effective field goal percentage against Connecticut this year was 61.7%. It's just crazy. It's a big number. They dominated in the 4 factors. Just a really quick look at what happened in those games. Like they dominated the field goal category and they dominated the free throw rate category. Okay. But Connecticut is what they do is they dominate the offensive glass and the turnover margin. So I think it's just going to come down to how many turnovers can Connecticut produce, how many offensive rebounds can they produce. They're going to need extra possessions, and then they're going to need to capitalize on those extra possessions. Against Dallas, at some point in that game, they had 21 more field goal attempts in that game 3 against Dallas than Dallas did, but they were only up by like 13 points.
Right.
So it's like they need to be more efficient on those opportunities. And I think Chicago's D can hold them in. But I am totally with you. I think this series is going to go. It's not going to be a sweep. Certainly not. I don't think so. I think Connecticut will get at least 1 game. I'm really excited. Actually, tell me which matchup you're really excited about, because I got a lot here, like Dewana versus Leah Copper. You got Emma. Well, whoever's at that 4 position against Alyssa Thomas, or they're going to put Candace Parker on Alyssa Thomas. How do they match up in that front court? I think those are going to be really, really interesting matchups. Yeah. And I also think there's like weird lineup opportunities. So just like, what matchup are you looking for? Could be unit to unit, coach to coach. player to player? Like what's one of those things you want to see?
I think that matchup with Emma Miesemann, who I think would be the match for Alyssa Thomas, I'm circling that. And maybe Candace Parker. I mean, she's stepped up and taken a lot of pride in her defense in the last couple of seasons anyway. But I think she's always been a fantastic defender. But I think for me, if I'm James Wade, I am going to go ahead and put Emma Miesemann on her. Emma has great footwork in there. I think she understands Alyssa Thomas's move. She knows what she's going to do. She can be shifty, and strong. But I think Miesemann can kind of stay in front of her a little bit better. And not that Candace can't, but I think also you don't want to put Candace in that situation where she could get in foul trouble. Yeah. Because Alyssa Thomas does take a high volume number of shots. So you're also thinking of that as well. Not necessarily that Candace can't do it. No, it's like Candace can do it, but do we want her doing it every time down defensively because the ball is going through Alyssa Thomas? So I think in that regard, I'm going to put Emma on her, and I think that's going to be the matchup. But I also like what you said about Bonner and Copper.
Well, so I was just thinking about why I'm so excited.
Is that going to be the match? Do you think?
I certainly. I mean, I can't. I just go and see who the other team is going to put on one of them, right? Because you have Vandersloot and Quigley against Heidemann and Courtney Williams in the front court. I think that matchup is very clearly go towards Chicago.
Very good.
And I think those two guards are going to have to be on their best defensive activity. And I think Heidemann has been there. Courtney has been in and out, and it depends. Like she's not going to be able to take. I think she has a slight mismatch on the offensive end against Quigley, but I don't think she's really going to be able to take advantage of that because the way Courtney Williams takes advantage of it is by those long twos, and it's like Chicago will take that. Chicago will let you shoot that. So I think where my point here is, I think the one-on-one matchup is going to be between Copper and DeWanna Bonner.
Okay.
Because those are the only two that, I think either team's going to be okay with the other one going up against one-on-one. I think DeWanna has a size and length advantage, and I think Copper has a speed and strength advantage. And we're just going to be seeing those two going back and forth. I think it's going to be 5-on-5 basketball, which I know sounds stupid, but
no, it doesn't.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's 5-on-5 basketball. This is going to be a lot of movement, a lot of switching, a lot of communication. Chicago has done an amazing job of being able to switch and scram and do point switching, and then having Candace Parker stay near the rim, which is always their goal. We'll see how she can do that against Jonquel Jones. So I think it's going to be 5-on-5. But where the one-on-one matchup is going to be is between Copper and Bonner.
I like it.
And it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited for it.
I like it. And I also think, you got to flip it over too and say, who's going to check Candace, right? Who's going to check?
Well, Jonquel.
Right. But she can take her outside a little bit, right? She can stretch her a little bit, get her in some pick and roll.
Well, ideally, no. I mean, it depends on who. Jonquel has not been playing that well, so I don't know. Maybe she can, but when Jonquel's 2019 finals, Jonquel, no, she cannot, right?
Yeah. But I think Chicago's also, thinking, well, they got to check us too, right? And the matchups aren't just like who's going to check these people from Connecticut, but who's going to check us? Okay, who's going to check Quigley? Who's going to check Sloot? Like, I think you have to flip the switch a little bit and say, like, let's look at it on the other side and see what kind of matchups can be exploited with how Chicago plays in the court. And when Courtney Vandersloot gets 10 toes in the paint, that's trouble. So you really have to put, an onus on keeping her out of the lane, not letting her get downhill and transition. But she just finds a way, right? She'll snake in and out and for a reason, right? She's not just doing it because it looks cute. She's doing it to commit you to the ball. And then she's going to find somebody wide open out there who could be Candace Parker, who I think in this matchup against Connecticut is going to stretch that floor out. And that may be the difference maker for Chicago, her ability to knock in shots from the outside.
Yeah, but teams have been giving that to her, and it's been kind of working because she doesn't want Candace. She plays basketball the right way, right? So it's like, she'll take the open shot, but it's not necessarily the thing she wants to do. And I think getting her out of the thing she wants to do, and then Chicago countering to get her into things she wants to do. As Anila says in her comment, like, who's going to be the better coach in the series is pretty much going to decide. And I totally agree with that. James Wade versus Curt Miller, these two coaches have been great for years. And I think they've gotten their teams to this point where it is kind of down to their decisions. So we'll see. I mean, and then there's the other possibility that I was thinking about. Let me know what you think about this. Okay. If these teams go big, not that they necessarily will. Okay. I didn't look up the lineup data before this, and I'm sorry about that. If someone wants to hit me up with it. Could a big lineup favor Connecticut? Let's say they move DeWanna up to the 2 and bring in Bree Jones. Okay. Which maybe, possibly, I don't know, for Chicago to then bring in Azrae Stevens and play her with Emma and Candace. Ooh. They do not like to do that, but they could play big lineup versus big lineup. And I think Connecticut may be able to force the issue that way and do the things that they're best at. And I don't think I think, Alyssa Thomas at the 3 is fine. Like she's not a big that's going to scare you switching. So I was just thinking about that as a potential counter for Connecticut if they have to slow down Chicago. Yeah,
I think, like you just said, Anelia said, right? It's going to be a chess match with the coaches and what kinds of combinations you want to switch and change to. But honestly, at this juncture in the playoffs, you don't want to be mixing up too much stuff, right? You want to do with what got you here. You want to be your authentic selves as a team. But can you do that 1 or 2 possessions just to show it, see what it looks like, see what it feels like? Perhaps. But it all depends on what the score is. I'm not doing that in a 1 possession back and forth game. Bump that. Nope. We're staying with what we're doing. And I'm not trying something new like that. But if we have, 5+ possession lead, maybe try something like that. But, you got to stick with your your innate decision making that you've relied upon coming into the playoffs. And I just think for James Wade, I just think that he has Courtney Vandersloot on the floor. She's going to make the proper decisions for you. And I think when you're looking at a team like Connecticut without the services of Jasmine Thomas, I don't know if that's going to come into play as being something that they need more of. Right. Oh, yeah. Courtney Williams, I'm not, and this is when I say that, I'm not saying that other players aren't capable of making strong contributions in that role. They have to. Okay. What I'm saying is a player with the seasoned experience that Jasmine Thomas had for Connecticut, is that going to be something that hurts them in this series, not having that experience at that position?
Yeah, I think it will hurt them. No, 100% it's going to hurt them.
Yeah.
It's just like they got to deal with what they got. And that's why I say you got to I think Connecticut to me is a big underdog here. And I'm going to tell you guys straight up, I'm picking Chicago. I'm going to make Christy pick. Don't worry.
Great.
I'm picking Chicago, and I think it's just because there's more areas to exploit against Connecticut than there are against Chicago. And Chicago is very, very good at exploiting your one weakness, right?
Yeah.
So, and then game 3 against New York, there's opportunities that the rim was wide open because of the spacing Chicago had, and they attacked the rim, then they attacked the rim. Things changed. They started taking more threes. They adjusted so well throughout that game. And I think Chicago is definitely not scared to change things up. Like they were pressing against New York. And that's not something you see from a 1 seed or the 2 seed against a 7 seed. Typically, you don't see the 2 seed pressing, right? Because that's a strategy typically used by the underdog. So I don't think it's going to be something that the status quo is going to work out. I think Connecticut's going to have to adapt and try different things. That's why I bring up the big lineup, because I also kind of want to see it.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. I mean, as a former post, I'd love to see it. Hey, put them all out there. But, I still think, you don't want to be tinkering with things that throw your chemistry off or create a big run for your opponents, right? And sometimes when you see another team put a big lineup out there, you may be forced to say, oh, we got to match that with size. But sometimes you don't. Like what I was saying before, they still have to check us too. Yeah. So do we have an advantage now if we stay small, right? They went big, good for them. Let's exploit that. How can we get them in pick and rolls? How can we spread them out and get by them? Like, I think it's all, again, goes back to the coaching and what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't be enticed by what the other team is doing. It's almost like, what was that meme where in the Olympics, the swimming thing, and he's looking to see what somebody else is doing? Or was it the race? It was the race. It was both. It was like, it was,
I know what you're saying.
And, you can't be focused on the other people. You better just go ahead and stay straight ahead, whether you're swimming, racing, or hooping. Like, you got to just stay the course and do what got you there. And if there are changes on the other side, don't let that force you to make a change, right? Just see what advantages that presents for you, because now they're gambling. So let's make them pay for that. So
so maybe Chicago, and Chicago again, very well equipped to do against anything. And that's why I think they're going to win the series. Who do you think is going to win the series? I'll make my prediction a little bit more specific. Okay. I will say that Chicago is going to win this series in 4 games, and they are going to lose game 3.
Wow.
Very specific.
That's very specific, but are you asking that of me too?
No, you can just say whatever you want. You're the Hall of Famer.
Okay, good. I get a pass. Yay. I didn't know I could use that. Okay. Let's go. I'm going Chicago in 5.
Chicago in 5. Okay.
And I want that game 5 to be a buzzer beater game. Like, I want it to be dramatic. I want it to be hard fought. I want it to be dig down. I want to see if Chicago can say, hey, we won it last year. We did it with this kind of fight, and do it again. So I'm calling Chicago in 5, but I think Connecticut's going to give them all they got. And they're ready to compete. And I want to see it be like a free throw with no time on the clock in game 5. If we're like Quigley or somebody be online, like, you're supposed to make it. You're a shooter, shoot. Let's see, make this shot. And then let it be a 1-point win.
I think Chicago is going to win by 20 in game 4. That's my
20. Wow, you just shaped it all the way. Okay.
Game 4, 20-point win. Let's talk about what I think is actually the better series. Las Vegas against Seattle. This is gonna be an awesome series. I listed out the matchups here. Obviously, there's 4 number 1 pick. There's 7 number 1 picks in this series. The talent here is incredible. You look at the matchups and it's like, you got MVP candidates all over the place. You got players who have done so much in this league already. I think Seattle's probably playing the best basketball in the league right now.
They are.
I think Las Vegas is not that far behind them, right? So it's like, I don't quite know where the series is gonna go. The in-season matchup, what was it? It was 3-1 for Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So that would suggest that Las Vegas is going to win. I just don't think that's as easy as it's going to be. So what are you looking out for in this series?
Is this the end of the road for Sue Bird, number 1? That to me, man, listen, if I'm playing with Sue Bird and I know that she, has announced her retirement and everything like that, and not that I wouldn't be already driven. I would be driven. Okay. But the fact that the person to the right of me is Sue Bird in the locker room, I'm sitting there looking at her put on her shoes. Is this the last time? Not if I have anything to say about it, right? But hey, I'm going out here and I'm already fired up. So I'm going to be at a different level because I have that extra incentive, and not that you need it, but you have it. Okay. Right. And I mean, you won't play your butt off for Sue, man. If I'm her teammate, man, listen, I'm going to box out a little longer. I'm gonna set my screen a little more solid, like all the little micro things we were talking about. I'm gonna make my pass a little more crisp, like every little thing. I'm gonna go harder for her just because she's sitting right there. I mean, that's period, point blank. So number 1, I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that level of energy from Seattle, but also I'm looking for Vegas, right, to be able to do what they've done against Seattle all year. I mean, this is a team who got the number 1 overall seed, right, because they beat Seattle in the last game. So this is the team who can rise to the occasion in situations like that when they have the opportunity to close that door. They did it at the end of the regular season. Can they do it again in the postseason? And seeing them up close and personal, they are really a tough group to stop. Like, they're a tough group to contain. And if you contain one piece of what they're doing, they're going to come with 4 more. I mean, they just have a tremendous amount of balance on both sides. And I think, they have to play smart. They have to stay out of foul trouble. Wilson has to stay on the floor. But I think it's going to be, that's another knockdown, drag out series with a lot of different stories behind it. I mean, Becky Hammond, wouldn't that be something, to advance to the finals as the first year head coach in the WNBA?
It's going to be amazing. I think the narratives are there. It's going to be, from that perspective, it's going to be amazing. I think the on-court play is going to be incredible. I think what we're going to see on the court is going to be the best basketball this season. I think I said that in the last series too with Washington, and it was not. It was not. The Vegas
game one
was really good, but game 2, I'm talking about, it has to be consistent. Okay, although I could see this being a weird series where each team gets a blowout because of how the coaches are adjusting and changing things over games, right? I think Seattle does that really well, and they do also change in game very well too. But I could see this being a series where it's like, okay, Vegas won game 1 by 15. Okay, it's Seattle won game 2 by 15. Game 3, there's been series like that. I remember the Miami Heat, San Antonio Spurs series, and I always get the year wrong. I think it's 2014. That was like that, where the Ray Allen shot one. Like, game 6 was a classic, but the games before that were all blowouts. I think this could be the same thing, just because the teams are so good. That's going to take, just a little change here, a little change there. Who's playing well here? Who's playing well there? Right now, for example, Seattle has Gabby Williams playing some of the best basketball of her career. She's been unbelievable. Can she outplay Jackie Young, who is playing unbelievable basketball season? Right? Like, and the matchups here are really interesting too, because I think in that last game against between these teams, Sue Bird actually matched up with Chelsea Gray. And I thought that was, I picked up my ears, and so did Vegas, because they started attacking that. And then they started attacking Tina Charles as the tagger in the pick and roll, right?
They did.
And then you go on the other side, and Seattle just had Brianna Stewart do Brianna Stewart things. And then there was a time where it was just Brianna Stewart versus Asia Wilson. I'm looking very much forward to those times in this series. So the X's and O's are going to be fascinating to watch. Do you see any team having a single advantage on the floor?
Asia Wilson, to me, is an advantage. I mean,
she's going up against Brianna Stewart, though.
I know, but Asia Wilson, to me, is an advantage. I have to stick with that. I mean, she's just put in so much work, man, and the extension of her game, I think, has really been something to see. But her defense, like, she's been right there. And I think that's been a big reason why they have that series advantage over Seattle, is because of the way she's been able to protect the rim. Now, with that being said, I think Becky Hammond has been a maestro with what she's been able to do defensively with her team. And when I say that, she'll throw a triangle and 2 at you, a diamond and 1, box and 1. Like, she'll zone it. She'll mix up some things on you defensively. And yes, Sue Bird is the
Can I remind you of something just very quickly? Sure. You have said on this podcast before that when you're throwing out those defenses, you may need to. It's not because you want to,
right?
Because you may need to. It's just that's a little concerning.
Absolutely, but at the same time, is what you've been doing. That's not reinvention of the wheel for this Vegas Aces team. They've always thrown a variety of things at you, offensively too. Like, they're going to throw a lot of different reads at you. They're going to throw a lot of different looks. They love that stagger on the weak side, curl and plumb up. Like, listen, man, they're going to throw some things at you. They're not going to come down doing the same thing every time. Like, defensively, you have to be on your toes against a team that Becky Hammond is coaching. She's going to throw several different things. And I think that's a good thing. I mean, if I'm coaching against that, I'm trying to recognize by half court, like, what are they doing? What are they doing? Like, who's doing this? Like, you have to stay ready to make in-game adjustments against this team. And I think what Washington was able to do well during the regular season in their 3 wins against Vegas was make those adjustments to what they saw defensively against the Aces. So now Seattle is going to have to do the same thing. And with a player like Sue Bird, yes, she's going to be able to recognize what's going on, right? She just knows. Like, she's magical in that way. I get it. But at the same time, everybody else has to be on that same page. You have to be able to make quick adjustments within, time on the shot clock. You don't want to have late in the shot clock decisions to be made by the team. But I think with a variety of defenses that Las Vegas is going to be able to throw at you, because they've done it all season, that's going to be really interesting to see. And that's something for fans to watch for too. Like, what are they running? Right.
Yeah.
And I think, I think A'ja Wilson's the MVP.
That's what Chiquita said. Chiquita said MVP.
Good. Oh, hey, Chiquita. Hey, girl.
Yeah, I think it is her MVP year. I think Brianna Stewart's really, really good.
She's not bad. She's
not a bad basketball player, I'd say. I think she's gonna be a great matchup, and I think there's a lot of people, that Seattle has more people to throw at Wilson than Vegas has to throw at Stewart.
That's true.
There's just going to be, I think it is going to be, again, 5-on-5 basketball, right? Where there's going to be a lot more movement off the ball. I think, you do have two players who are among the best in the league between Jewel Lloyd and Chelsea Gray.
Oh, man.
I may be matching them up if I'm on either side of that. Actually, I'd probably I try to put Jackie Young on Jewel Lloyd, but the matchups are so weird. It's just going to be like, because I think on Vegas would want Plum on Bird. But I don't think Seattle will want Bird on Plum. So then it's like, well, where do you put Sue Bird? Where do you I don't know. Right. It's going to be really fast and a little chess match. Also, a couple of our commenters have mentioned whether Derek Hamby is going to be back. We don't know. I haven't seen anything.
Oh, go ahead, honey. I'm sorry.
No. Do you know?
No, she in Vegas last week. We got some updates with her, but obviously they did what they did against Phoenix without her on the court. And it's a bone bruise, but I think that's gotten better. So I think having this week in between, if she's not playing in game 1 or 2, maybe before the series is over, she may see time on the floor. And that's not an official word. That's just, things that I saw there. And, no official word on that, but I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility because they've had this gap in days, right?
Yeah.
Full 7 days in between. So obviously that helps fuel her to get back and be ready to go. But yeah, I mean, going back to A'ja Wilson MVP, I mean, it's best player, best team. That's always what I thought. So
I think
best record. Well,
it's not technically. It is not
technically
the award for the best player on the best team.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. It could be for the most valuable, who brought the most value to their team. I'm just saying, if you want to go a different direction, you're okay.
No, dude. Hey, no. Look, if you're the best player on the best team, their value is already written in stone.
No, because there could be more people. Let's say a team
on a bad team, like you're like
no, but let's play it out. Let's play it out. So if a
team and you're the MVP,
if the team in first place has 3 MVP candidates, like this Vegas team particularly had at some point in the season, right? 3 players who may be the best player on the best team.
Right.
Obviously, it ended up being A'ja Wilson, like we all thought it was going to be. But there's maybe a team that finished maybe like 4th in the standings who had a player who contributed even more because they had to do more.
Buddy.
It's only 2-game difference. It's not like the first place team was that much better than everyone else. It was like a 2-game difference.
Gabe, you know what? I love you like a play cousin and all that. Like me and you. No, I'm disagreeing fully. I'm going best player, best team.
I'm just saying you cannot go like you can go different.
Can't. Why? Why would you do that?
Because that's not the award. But the award's not for the best player on the best team. That's just not the award. The award is not for the best player on the best team.
Who is it for then? Who scores the most on a bad team?
It's for who is the most valuable player to their team. So if one player drags a team to a second place finish, it shouldn't be the first player on the team that's full of all-stars.
No.
But it's just not for best player on the best team is not the only way to look at that award. You can look at it like be. Well, then we should call it the best player on the best team award. And then then there's no voting. We don't have to vote for it.
Wilson. But then it makes it easy. Like all these
but it's not supposed to be easy.
No, these other variables, man. Like, bump that. If you're scoring 30 on the 8th place team, no, man.
I'm not talking about the 8th place. I'm not talking about the 8th place team. I'm talking about a team that was 4th place, 2 games behind the team that won. that got in first place and who may beat them in the playoffs, which is my prediction and what I'm going to say. Seattle's going to beat Vegas in the playoffs, and I think it's going 5 games. I think it's going to, and I think there's an argument that Brianna Stewart should win the MVP. I personally would vote A'ja Wilson because I think she has been the most valuable player to a very, very good team. But it's not just because she is the best player on the best team. I think that's a bit reductive for what the award's supposed to be.
Get your reductive pen out and put it on some reductive paper and write down what you just said about A'ja Wilson being the most valuable player.
She's the most valuable player this year, but it's not because it's not just because she's the best player on the best team. It's because she's added the most valuable to it. She has added the most value to a team that is very good.
You're saying the same thing.
I'm not. I'm saying you can vote for Brianna Stewart, just not because she finished 4th in the standings.
I love her. But
that doesn't take her off the ballot if she just finished 4th.
Okay, I see what you're saying, but I don't agree. I don't know. I guess I'm old school with that. If you're the best player on the best team, that's you. Like, you earned that. You got your team there. Without you, they don't get there. You're valuable and invaluable at the same time. And guess what? That's who I'm going with. And that's just me. And I think, okay, what I'm saying, if that fuels Brianna Stewart to average 40 in this series, I'm sorry, Las Vegas, but
you gotta hope. You gotta hope if you're Las Vegas that this award is not coming out in this round. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm not mad at Brianna Stewart. And I love her game, and I love all the accomplishments and gold medals and championships that she's been able to win at a young age. I mean, she's accomplished more than anyone at her age. Okay, trust and believe. But this year it's A'ja Wilson.
I look, I'm voting for A'ja Wilson. I'm just saying that the assertion that it has to be the best player on the best team is wrong. I do not think that is the award.
Do you use Waze when you drive around?
Huh? No, I don't. I use Google Maps.
Okay, Google Maps. Okay, say we're using Google Maps and we're meeting up at a restaurant and you take one way to get there, but you're there, right? And I take another way and I get there, I meet you there. I'm like, oh, hey, Gabe, how y'all doing? We're both at the same spot. So you just
but it matters.
But it doesn't matter how you get there. You got there. Boom.
This year, certainly it does not matter because we both voted for A'ja Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
There will come a year where we disagree on this. Much like we disagreed on the Rookie of the Year. Also, by the way,
we did disagree.
The rookie, we disagreed there. We just don't disagree here. But I think in the future, I do not think it is the best player on the best team. I do not think that has to be the award because I think there's some times where the most valuable player in this league is not on the best team.
The same thing, man. You're saying the same thing.
Huh?
Most valuable and best are the same.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're not. They're not. It's not the best player award.
That's the best player.
No, but it's not the best player award. We have a best player award in college, correct? We have a best player in college.
Yes.
The Naismith, which again is going to go to Aaliyah Boston because she's the best player in the country. I don't care what happens if South Carolina finishes second in the SEC, like they did last year. But
they won it all, though. Hey, Dawn.
Aaliyah Boston's the best player in the country. However, that's for best player. This is not a best player award. This is most valuable. It has to. The words have to mean something. I'm a lawyer.
To mean something, and I don't get it.
You're
a lawyer, and I'm not. And
the words have to mean something. All right, Christy, we gotta go. Make your pick. Make your pick. You almost got out of this without making your pick.
I'm going with the Las Vegas Aces in that series, and I'm going to take them in 5.
5 games.
And I'm going to take it a 10-point win in Game 5 for the Las Vegas Aces.
10 points. I think I pushed Christy into
made me angry. I was going to say 5, but I added 5 more because you had me mad.
Also, I just want to say, according to my logic, Jess, no, the whole point would be that LeBron would not win the award every single year. That's the whole point of the most valuable player award, is that the best player doesn't always win it. That's the whole point.
Oh my God.
Christy, get us out of here.
Best player, best team. Y'all shout us out in the comments because we're not done with this because I got a time.
We're coming back. We're coming back when the MVP award actually gets announced.
We'll have that next time. But we don't have to go home. We got to get on out of here. That's it for today's discussion. Now I have to go woosah somewhere and do some yoga because of Gabe. Anyway, we'll check y'all out next time. More WNBA playoffs ahead. For Gabe Ibrahim, I'm Christy Winters-Scott. We'll see you next time.